Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today is Thursday, October 3rd, and I'm doing some pre-filming today for 3 different videos. I would believe that they're all co-related. One maybe not so much, but still it helps. And yeah, so this is basically a prequel to a video that I'm dropping on Saturday, and just don't forget that Saturday spilled the tea. So you'll have to stay tuned for both to see what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyways, so today's video is going to be on Hugo and how he impacted my weight loss journey and my becoming a YouTuber journey. So I actually tried to film this like 2 seconds ago, and I did film it, but then like I'm making some adjustments with the camera, so I guess it didn't focus properly. So it's kind of good that that happened because I got emotional in it, and I feel like I got that out of my system, and now I'm good. Like I can talk about it again and be fine, and it's just cool. Like, yeah. So anyways, basically Hugo is a trainer at my gym, and I've seen him regularly. I've seen him forever basically, but I've never really like didn't talk to him properly until probably this year. And this year's probably the year that I also went to the gym the most consistently, like trying different things, or maybe for the better half of the last year and a half. But anyways, one day he had asked me like, hey, like, you know, you work really hard, like what's your goal kind of thing, right? I'm like, well, I don't really have a goal per se. It's more so to be confident enough to like walk around naked, right? Like I want to wear cute clothes, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I'm like half joking when I say it, but like I'm really kind of serious. And he was just like, you know, like that has nothing to do with the gym, right? Like you can lift all the weights in the world, but that's your brain. Like you have to fix your thinking, right? And I'm like, yeah, like obviously I know that, but like do you really ever know that? I don't know. So I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, well, if you ever want to talk about it, like, let me know, right? So that was the first seed that he ever planted. And after that, like, I can't remember if it was before Halifax, but I think it was before Halifax. But I think in the back of my mind, I always knew that, like, once I come back from Halifax, like, I want to kind of get my shit together and, like, you know, try doing the weight loss thing a little bit more seriously. You know, I have all this knowledge that I've compiled over the years. Like, it's time to, like, you know, you got the gym down. Time to step it up the next level and get the nutrition down. So I think I knew that I was building up for it, but at the same time, I'm also like, yo, I want my brain to catch up with the changes that my body is going to make, and I want to make sure that I always appreciate, like, how far I come, like, you know what I mean? I feel like in the past I've lost weight, but I've never, like, appreciated that, but only now, like, looking back at the pictures, I'm like, damn, like, you were pretty, like, fit back then, and you didn't, like, I don't remember ever being, like, super excited about it or happy about it, whereas now I feel like, fuck, I'm shouting it from the rooftops, like, the confidence that I feel, the, like, just the epiphanies that I'm having, like all of these things, right? Like it's correlated 100%, because if I didn't have the confidence that I'm feeling from my weight loss and my journey, and again, I'm going to always say this, it's not from reaching some number. I'm really not at some magical number right now. It's just I'm working towards this goal, and the closer I get and the more results I see, like I'm realizing like, yes, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. Like the motivation is going to continue to come. So anyway, so basically Hugo was basically like, everyone talk, let's talk. So I'm like, okay, planted the seed, and I like was thinking about it, and the more I thought about it, like the more emotional I was becoming. And like I wanted to, now I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I want to talk to him about it, but like I don't want to talk to him about him at the gym or at some coffee shop. Like what if I like burst out into tears? Like I'm already a freaking emotional person. And so I'm like, okay, maybe you should like tell him that you're interested, but like, hey, forewarning, like I'm basically crazy and I'm gonna be emotional, and you're gonna like, are you sure you're good with this? Like, you're basically, like, opening up the Pandora's box of emotional problems that I've had for 28 years, you know? Like, are you ready for this? And when I told him, he's like, yeah, for sure. Like, he was so understanding that I never felt like he's judging me or that, like, this is not a safe spot. And I've talked to different people about different things before, and I've had experiences where, like, I'm like, yeah, like, I wouldn't feel comfortable, like, confiding my soul with you. That's not the vibe I'm getting, right? So, anyways, I tell Hugo, and he's just like, okay. And even I remember when I got into the car, like I'm basically like ready to burst into tears, like before we even begin. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is so embarrassing. Like, fuck, why are you so emotional already? But in the back of my mind and in my soul, I think I knew that I'm this emotional because this was the right thing that I needed to do. Like this was something that I was ready to do, and like I just needed to do it. Like there was a reason why I felt like that. I don't know. I could be crazy, and I probably am, but it is what it is. So I basically cried before we even got to the coffee shop, and he's like, yo, it's okay, like, here's some tissue, like, it's all good. And he made me feel so comfortable. And once I got that initial cry out, just like I did right now, like, I felt better. And like, yeah, here and there I still felt emotional, like, throughout our talk, and I probably cried, but it was like letting go of so much shit that I didn't even know I had, which is fucked. Like, yo, like, I didn't realize like how deep rooted these problems went until I had this hour and a half conversation with Hugo. And the conversation that I had with him, like, he just asked me a few probing questions and like made me answer my own questions. I don't know how to even explain it, but I recently remember reading somewhere that a good trainer isn't telling you what you need to do, but it's making you come to these conclusions on your own, right? Because you're more likely to do it if you realize like certain patterns and certain behaviors, and like, you know, you're more inclined to change versus me just telling you that, hey, losing weight and to be healthy is like good for you. Like, no, you have to come to some epiphany about why you want to do it and like etc. on your own, right? For you to really make a change that matters. So he was basically just asking me questions and showing me, he's like, but why are you taking these people's opinions into like heart? Like, he's like, I was giving him the example of like, okay, sometimes like we have aunts in our family or like whatever, just family in the Georgie Tamil community about like, oh, like, oh look, you got fat, or oh look, you're so dark, or this or that, or just something dumb, right? And I'm like, well, I don't let that bother me anymore though, because I always tell them to like fuck off, or like I basically say like, are you happy in your life, or just some type of snarky remark back. And he was just like, yeah, like that's cool and all, but if you're responding back in that way and like in a defensive or like whatever tone, like you're still letting that phase you, and like that's feeding into what they want from you. You know what I mean? He's like, if you just acknowledge what they're saying and look at it like, what's my opinion on this, then that's it. Like, the problem is now solved. So for example, he's like, if someone told you that like, hey, you just got back from vacation and you look fat, then you would literally, what's your opinion on it? Yeah, I did have some good food. I did have some delicious drinks. And yeah, I probably gained a little bit of water weight, some bloating, and maybe 5 pounds that I can probably lose in the next couple of months. Like, so what? What's the big deal, right? And he's like, once you come to that conclusion and like admit that like, oh yeah, you're right, or no, you're wrong, and then just walk away from the situation, like you now, like they're gonna be so shook and confused, be like, what? Like, you're agreeing with me that you're fat? Like, oh, okay. And then the conversation's over, right? And I just looked at it like that, and I'm just like, really? Would that work? And he's like, yeah, like, if, like, what if you're on a bulk, for example, and right now I'm on a cut. He's like, if you're on a bulk and you're gaining weight, and you know you're gaining weight, and that no matter what, you're going to gain some weight, like, everywhere, no matter, like, what happens. He's like, what, are you going to, like, be sad that someone's telling you that you're fat? They're just telling you what's already happening. They're stating a fact of life, like whatever, right? And that's someone's opinion. If you disagree with it, you disagree with it. And then you be happy with that. Like, hey, this is my opinion on this, and that's what I'm going to do. Like, this is my opinion. Like, I'm allowed to have my own opinion. You're allowed to have your own opinion. Like, yes, you can give free advice and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to decide what your opinion is on that. And that's basically what he taught me. Like, what is my opinion? He's like, Cynthia, like, at some points, I wasn't even understanding what he was saying. Like, my brain was just so fucked up from like 28 years of thinking a certain way and asking people like, what have I heard so much in our culture and thing, like, what is this person going to think of you? What is this person going to say? What is this person? What is this person? Like, who fucking cares, man? Like, that's more of a them problem than it's a me problem. Like, I just want to focus on doing what the fuck makes me happy, and that's all. Like, that's it. That's all. Like, that's it. You know, like, life is short. Like, I don't have time to worry about what you're thinking. I only got time to worry about what I'm thinking. Like, even that, I barely have time, you know? So anyways, like, he just showed me, he's like, you know, these are simple steps you can, like, I literally wrote it down in my notes. I was just like, he's like, ask yourself, what's my opinion on this? Like, what's my opinion? Well, and anytime someone tells you something, ask yourself, what's my opinion? You could agree with them, or you could not, right? Like, what's my opinion? That's it. And like, if you take away that hold that they have over you on some particular subject or some sensitive topic for you, then it is what it is. And like, at one point in the conversation, I'm like, okay, but like, for example, like, you know, how come, like, sometimes I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, oh, I, like, hate the size of my arms, and I'm like, I can't love them, like, I just don't like it, right? Well, not anymore, I do love them now, but anyways, I'm like, you know, like, why, I thought you're supposed to, like, love your body for what it is, but, like, how come, like, when I look in the mirror, I'm, like, so cheesed at, like, my arms and the size of it, like, you know what I mean? He's like, well, he's like, if you were making all the money in the world, like, if you had your dream job, like, your dream life, etc., etc., he's like, would you change anything? And at first I was answering this question wrong. I'm like, yeah, like, I want to make more money? I don't know, like, whatever. I was overthinking the shit out of it, as I normally do. And he's like, no, like, if you had everything you wanted and you're happy, like, you're living your best life, like, every single thing that you wanted done is now accomplished, like, are you going to change something? And I mentally was like, no. I guess not. And he's just like, no, like, why would you change something if you're happy? He's like, if the size of your arms or if your job is not making you happy, it's okay to understand that and then now move on to the next step, which is decide what needs to be done to get there. He's like, for example, your arms. He's like, the fat that you're worried about is just fat. Like, what do you need to do to get rid of that fat? You need to be in a calorie deficit. How do you get into a calorie deficit? Either eat less then you consume whatever, you know what I'm trying to talk about, but basically, like, yeah, do what you need to do to be in a calorie deficit, right? So I don't know, like, he just put it into perspective. He's like, there's nothing wrong with like wanting to change the size of your arms, but he's like, you don't have to hate it. Like, once you look at it as just something that, okay, I'm gonna work towards, like, it's gonna get better. Like, now I'm actually like so impressed with how far my arms like have come, and like it has been because I knew that I needed to get into a calorie deficit. I needed to get my nutrition on point. Like, I could go to the gym 5,000 hours a day, but fat loss is fat loss. I need to be in a calorie deficit, right? Like, nutrition is the easiest way to do that. And I'm not even close to being there yet, but I'm still 15 pounds closer than I was in the beginning of this year, all because I shifted my thinking. Like, I no longer think of this as a journey to lose weight for some event to get some person's approval. Like, the only person's approval I'm having is my own. Like, I'm doing this because I don't like something and I'm going to change it. And once I get to the point of happiness, I'm going to go towards my next goal and then my next goal and then my next goal. So he really just fucking changed my perspective in an hour and a half. And I always try to tell him, like, Hugo, like, I don't think you realize, like, you impacted my life in such a significant way. And, like, he didn't charge me anything for that. Like, nothing. Like, he was just like, no problem. Like, he took an hour and a half of his day to impact the life of a stranger when he knew he was going to get no financial benefit out of that. Again, like, that to me is hard to come by. And, like, it makes me, like, how can I repay somebody who did something like that? Like, he's literally impacted my life forever, and I will never forget him. Just like John Mangle, like, when he gave me a free month of coaching, like, he didn't need to do that. Like, like, people doing these nice things for you when they didn't have to do that, like, yo, you've changed my life, and I hope you know that. Like, and the only way I feel like I can repay him is by shouting from the rooftops and letting you know that if you're ever in a situation where you think that, like, where you need to talk to somebody and, like, you need to, like, you just need that growth because you know that something ain't right, like, yo, I talked to him and my life has changed so much in the last six months. Like, you don't even understand. Like, even with this whole YouTube thing and, like, the video that I'm going to talk about on Saturday, like, the fact that I've come around to that point is just wild to me. Like, and it's just like, what prompted this? And really and truly, it's that one conversation. And then on top of that, it's what I did next, which is, like, feel the confidence to lose the weight that I want to lose, which is now, like, it's becoming a domino effect. It's like, it's affecting every other aspect of my life. It's allowing me to be able to do this and to talk about it and, like not have any control over me anymore. And that's crazy. That, I don't know, it's crazy. And, like, who knows, maybe you don't even understand what the fuck I'm talking about, but the only way I can see it is, like, I, like, feel like I have had this light bulb switched in my brain and I understand now, and, like, now I'm just making the moves that I need to make to continue to make myself happy, and that's it. Like, that's how I know I'm good to go. So thanks for watching. Hope you followed along. If not, my bad, and see you next time. Bye.